Stay on top of stories about stocks that may impact the market or your portfolio today in Stocks Making News.
Well, Walgreens has inked a deal to buy Rite Aid Corporation. Tracey, Ryniec, Dave Bartosiak here with me to dissect this deal. So Tracey, the deal is broken down numbers-wise, according to published reports, $9.4 billion in cash, $17.2 billion, including all of the debt that goes with it, right?
That's right.
And so uniting two of the country's three biggest drugstore owners creates this huge drugstore giant, all of a sudden, in theory, but deal may draw some scrutiny from the feds.
It may. If this deal goes through, the combined entity would have about 41% of the market share, and CVS would have about 58%. They're still the big dog out there. So two entities now would control, the vast majority of the pharmacies. They would have 3 times the number of pharmacies as even Walmart, just in Walgreens entity alone.
Assuming the regulators don't make them give up some stores.
Right. Well, they will have to divest some stores in certain locations. Here in Chicago, we're just used to seeing Walgreens around.
At every corner.
Yeah, we don't have the Rite Aid, right. But when you go out east, there's a lot more Rite Aids and Walgreens.
Okay.
So they've said that they might have to divest maybe 25% of the stores out there. But other areas, they won't have that much of a problem, like out in California, where CVS basically dominates. And, so they're going to gain a whole bunch of stores out there. So you do have to like the synergies. They say they're going to save about $1 billion by merging these two. But another big factor that I think is really playing into it for Walgreens is the fact that Rite Aid has this pharmacy benefits management company. They just bought them a couple months ago for $2 billion.
Yeah.
And that's a big area of the market that kind of gets overlooked. It's not really about just the pharmacy anymore and the physical store of walking in there. It's these PBM groups that control huge accounts. Like some of them, have United Health as their customers. Some have Aetna, and they manage, mail order prescriptions. They can go in and negotiate better rates. And so while Walgreens is kind of denying that, we're not that interested in the PBM part of it, but they don't have that, and this does give them an angle into that business.
Well, it was an interesting situation earlier this week. Rite Aid shares shot up 40% on the day on Tuesday, October the 27th, prior to the confirmation of the deal. But then shares of both companies fell on Wednesday, October 28th, after the deal confirmation. So who do you think benefits more, the Walgreens shareholders or the Rite Aid shareholders?
Well, I brought a chart with the Walgreens numbers because I thought it was interesting, because I was thinking, maybe they're not growing their earnings that much. They did enter that Boots deal last year, so now they're in 11 countries. That boosted the numbers. Their retail side is actually doing pretty good, but it is the slower growth area. But when I look at this earnings growth, I'm still seeing double digits earnings growth for this year and next year. Pretty solid numbers for a company that's been around a long time. So, I personally think the Walgreens people are going to benefit a lot more than the Rite Aid here, because they already have a pretty good deal going. Okay. And then this is going to give them some more synergies. It's going to make them bigger. And they have this access to the PBMs, which, again, Walgreens is kind of downplaying, but that's an added bonus.
Dave, published data now shows that, and this is after the fact, looking in the rearview mirror, of course, both companies traded in recent days on unusually high volumes compared to their average daily volume. So is that telling you anything?
I don't know. Whenever there's speculation about one of these deals going, of course, everybody wants to kind of sink their teeth into it, and the stock starts trading kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Rite Aid traded 183 million shares that day that you're talking about, when on average they do about 30 million shares. So definitely significantly more volume there. If you look at Walgreens, it was like 13 million shares traded hands versus your typical 3 or 4 million. And looking at a quick chart of this Rite Aid here, you can see the big spike that it had, going up almost to $9. And then we've come down a bit. And today, the stock's at $7.91 or something like that while we're recording this on Thursday. It's almost like, am I missing something? There's $9 on the table, but nobody wants to grab it.
Right.
So that's kind of strange. Maybe there's an underlying feeling that this deal doesn't go through. Somebody comes in and says, no, this is going to be too big. You can't do it. So that's one of the things. The other thing is, how gangster did this did this Walgreens get? Walgreens Boot Alliance? When did it turn into that? I'm kind of intimidated by it. But no, so if you look at shares of Rite Aid again, something happened in August where these earnings estimates started to come down, and the stock really took a tumble because it was a $10 stock just a few months ago.
Right.
Came all the way down to $6. So really, this offer at $9, while it sounds great, maybe Rite Aid just needed some time to turn around on its own.
And we're talking here on October the 29th, and Walgreens just reported earnings recently, right?
Yes, this week.
Yeah. So the deal's reportedly expected to close in the second half of 2016. Do either of you think that investors are going to see risk in this deal closing at all? And that may affect the trading of the stock?
I think they already have. I think that's why you got Rite Aid down below $8 right now, is because people really aren't sure that this is going to happen. I'd love to go ahead and see what what the options are trading at, going out to closer to the deal date. That's something I'll definitely take a look at later today.
All right. Well, thank you both for that. Definitely another one for the follow-up file. We're going to have to keep an eye on this one. And in the meantime, if you want more information on stocks, stock commentary, stock picks, stock picking strategies, get on over to our website, Zacks.com, because there is where you can link to it all right off the home page. With Tracey and Dave, I'm Terry Ruffalo.